Walt Disney World. It's large and it's full of people. According to the Reedy Creek Improvement District, which is the governing jurisdiction that makes up Walt Disney World, the area can see as many as 250,000 people a day across the entire property. That's a lot of people, and people produce garbage, and so naturally that's also a lot of garbage. But just how much garbage is produced at Walt Disney World? I don't want to bury the lead, so let's just dive into the numbers. According to the Reedy Creek Improvement District Utilities Report, the district picked up a total of 161,000 tons of waste in 2017. That averages out to 441 tons of trash every single day. Now that's a lot of garbage, but how does that break down, and how do they manage it? Well, for one, not all waste is equal. The district breaks down waste into a few different categories, including solid waste, or your average general garbage, food waste, landscape waste, manure, and recyclables. They're all collected and managed separately. Now, the solid waste makes up the lion's share, with it accounting for just over 110,000 tons of the 161,000 total, while 12.7 thousand tons are comprised of loose and baled recyclables. However, the number that surprised me the most wasn't how much garbage was being produced, but how often it was being trucked off. Because you see, in 2017, there were an average of 191 waste pickups per day, every day. Keep in mind, those pickups aren't the times a custodial cast member is emptying a trash can on Main Street. We're talking about the number of times trucks from Reedy Creek's fleet of 35 solid waste transfer vehicles loaded up on garbage and whisked it off to a processing facility. If you spread that out evenly, that would be a pickup roughly every 7.5 minutes. Of course, in order for the trucks to pick up that garbage, it first needs to be collected. And I'd be remiss to make a video about garbage at Disney without talking about the novel and, for some, famous way it's moved around at the Magic Kingdom: tubes. When the Magic Kingdom opened in 1971, one of the many improvements it made over Disneyland was the inclusion of an underground pneumatic tube system called the Automated Vacuum Collection System, or AVAC for short. It's comprised of nearly 2 miles of tubing that was installed to transport garbage from point A to point B. It cost Disney a reported $1 million at the time of its installation, and it allowed cast members to drop off garbage at 16 different collection points across the park, where it would then be moved into a central collection point. That wouldn't be the last time Disney experimented with new ways to collect trash either. Just back in 2016, Disney piloted a program in which sensors were placed in garbage bins. When the bins were about 3/4 of the way full, it would alert the custodial cast members nearby so that it could be emptied and replaced with a new bag. So with all that trash moving around and being collected every day, amounting to 161,000 tons a year, it must make for an unusually high amount of garbage, right? Well, surprisingly, that isn't the case. According to the EPA, here in the United States, we produce about 4.4 pounds of garbage per day per capita. By comparison, Disney's per capita garbage production is 3.5 pounds per day, undercutting the national average by almost a full pound. And really, if you think about it, that makes sense. While there's plenty of waste involved in the process of making, selling, and eating food, there aren't a ton of opportunities outside of that for most guests to create garbage. Most people buying merch, at least the kind with a lot of packaging, are waiting until they're home to open it, and considering the largest type of garbage produced by households is in the form of packaging, that cuts out a large portion. That said, we could still do better. The United States generates more garbage per capita than any other nation on Earth. Disney, like many, has explored new ways to deal with garbage outside of just traditional recycling and trying to cut down on waste production. For instance, almost all of its food waste is now sent to a special plant that breaks it down and converts it to energy. I have a whole video about that if you're interested. 161,000 tons of garbage. It's yet another number that just drives home how much Disney World is like a fully functioning small city, and why it takes the workforce of one to make the dream of the parks a reality.